there guys, so welcome to Pentium 2, Pentium 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is just general Pentium adventures, though I'm probably going to be end up putting Pentium 2 because that is the main topic of this video, though I am even going to be messing with my main rig a bit and generally changing around the setup. But I've got some very exciting things going on with this Pentium 2. I am going to be putting in the power supply from my quad core, and I am then going to be pretty much just taking the entire thing apart and doing a complete and utter rebuild. I'm still going to be waiting on some parts that I'm hopefully, maybe M&M Computer has them, but anyway, I'm not going to be finishing this thing in this video, but this is pretty much, it's part 1 of a part 5, but this is technically part 5, so this is just a general continuation on the Pentium series and whatever. Anyway, let's just get started. For the first time on the channel, I'm actually going to be trying to do a bit of a time-lapse. I'm going to be clearing off the Dell. I just beat Allied Assault on this Dell. It ran it like a champ, and the sound card on that thing is rather excellent. And I've got a new sound card to put in here that has way better drivers than this piece of crap for Windows 95 and 98. So, without further ado, let's just get the tripod set up, move that computer wherever, probably under there, and get the time-lapse going. Alright guys, so I am going to be installing parts into the system over the time-lapse. It's just going to be sped up video. I am too cheap to, I'm too afraid to put Magic Lantern on the T3i, because at this point it's still rather sketchy and kind of voids warranties. And I am too cheap to buy the $20 time-lapse thing to do a proper time-lapse. So this is just going to be sped up 30 frames per second video. And of course I'm going to be popping my head in every once in a while, just giving you some updates and thoughts. So without further ado, let's just let the time-lapse begin. Alright guys, so as you can see by that time-lapse, however well that turned out, I did get the lights and everything working pretty fine on this. This is what I had in there, and that's of course the error code that this thing gives every time I start it up. I'm too lazy to figure out what that is, and anyway, now what it needs is, it needs a graphics card, and then we're going to see if we can get the Philips drivers. It should, if everything goes according to plan, there should be some Philips or whatever. This is a, I'm not 100% on what kind of card this is, but I do have the model number, It's been said that there are drivers that are built straight in, and that it can probably use the Sound Blaster drivers that are built straight into Windows 95. So hopefully that'll work. I am probably going to have to go out into my garage, and I'm probably going to grab a Rage 128 to put into this rig, and because as of right now I do not have a Voodoo 5. I am in the process of figuring out a way to get a Voodoo 5, so I will be back. Diamond S3 multimedia sound card, anybody? Pretty crappy. Even the Riva I actually deemed dead. But this should... Sorry about that, guys. I swear, I was blowing out the dust in here and I had the window open, and I'm just choking on dust. But this is not AGP, this is PCI. So it's generally a pretty bad card, but for now, it should work fine. I need to get some like ventilation in this room that is not going to blow dust all over the place. But anyway, I am going to take this last screw out of here and use it on securing this GPU. It'll probably run Quake 1 just fine, but yeah, we'll probably overclock the CPU to hopefully... Man, that thing is stuck in there. Just a second, guys. Voila! Video card is now officially installed. This I actually forget what kind of card I just put in this. It's a 3G. I had to think phone in order to get that. So hopefully this card's not dead. It's been sitting in my garage for the last while. So we're going to do a test boot up, and I'm going to get the monitor set up here. It's not going to be fully assembled because we're going to be trying to get an overclock on this CPU. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take the DSLR, and I'm going to have to take as detailed as a picture as I can on these jumpers before I start overclocking, so that way if things go south I can always just fix it. So remember, that is what the jumpers do look like for the 233 megahertz clock on this CPU. Alright guys, so we're ready for a boot up. I just need to get the keyboard, the PS2 keyboard, hooked straight up to it. My room is an absolute mess, but I just don't care. At some point I'm probably going to end up cleaning it, but right now, as I am just... The channel is still finding itself, so I don't really want to put a bed back in here and like get everything cleaned up, because I'm not sure if I'm just going to go back to doing vlogs. It depends on whether or not you guys actually like me maybe shocking myself to death with these old computers, screwing around with them. But anyway, we are going to see if it'll just boot straight up into Windows 95. Yeah, it says 233 megahertz. So we'll just get it booted up into Windows 95 and just see if it works. Alright guys, so it booted up into Windows 95, but I neglected to put a mouse into it. So we know it's stable, and we'll worry about sound card drivers later. So let's just see if we can overclock this guy. Alright guys, so this is with one jumper slid over, and then if that doesn't work, we're going to turn it back. So hopefully, what's it say, what's it report back as CPU speed? 210. Yeah, that's a down clock. So we are going to shut off the camera and put the thing back in its place. Okay, so now this is with the top one slid to the left. Turn it on, doesn't blow up. And hopefully we just overclocked this CPU. 275 megahertz. That's great. I am calling that. That is more than I would hope for. So now I need to connect a mouse and verify its stability in a CPU intensive task, aka opening up Notepad and Doom at the same time. Alright, I got a mouse connected, and the jumpers are all the same now. I think that's the max overclock I can get on this thing, 275 megahertz. That is actually really good for a Pentium 2 of the era, and kind of opens up a whole new world, especially once I get the Voodoo 5, and it's already got 320 megs of RAM, And once I do get the Voodoo 5, I'm pretty much gonna have to put Windows 98 on the thing. It's plenty fast enough to run it. So I'm not gonna make you guys sit through the entire thing counting the RAM. I'm gonna go get some Kool-Aid for my throat, and then I'm going to update you guys when we're at the desktop. Alright, so I found the sound card. Select from a list of alternate drivers. I do not have a CD drive that I can really burn stuff with, especially right now. Let's just see if I can select from a list of alternate drivers. Man, I swear I cannot use this. I'm used to being able to use a mouse on my jeans because sometimes I like to lean back. But anyway, I'm not even wearing jeans, but this is sort of jean-ish material. Anyway, we're just going to be looking for the sound, video, and game controller driver. AdLib, we are looking for hopefully Phillips. He's going to be here. If it's not, I'm gonna have to go and input the serial number on here because and figure out what is actually compatible. So I was going to go and Google the drivers, but I'm probably going to end up having to use my iPhone and the Wi-Fi because I made the mistake of unplugging my quad core while I was plugging in this thing. So yeah, that is the second time that I've thought that there was something wrong with my power supply. But I'm actually considering moving my desk over to face the window and then having this area specifically designated for old computers, because you have no idea the wire mess that is behind there. Anyway, it's going to be booting up into Windows 8, but I'm going to use my iPhone and quickly Google this. So yeah, both of these devices require me to have the Windows 95 disk. My setup is just not at all in order, so I'm probably going to archive this footage and then it'll probably come out a few days from now once I get everything back in order and can somehow get a way to get a Windows 95 install disk. So next cut should be me with a totally different looking setup. Okay guys, so it is now the next day. I've actually was really impressed with the lighting effect that I kind of get through the side of the case. Looks really nice. Power supply is not blowing nearly as much air as it was when it was powering my main rig. And I did move the desk, in case you didn't notice, over to this side of the room. And there we've got the video card, the temporary video card, and the sound card, the permanent sound card. What I need to do now is I need to figure out a way to somehow get a computer that is capable of just burning CDs or DVDs. So I think that what we're going to do is we are going to take this computer and we're going to then pretty much install a DVD drive into there. I got a Pentium 4 in the garage that I'm going to take a DVD drive out of. And then, since this thing is fully capable of connecting to the network, I can then burn CDs and DVDs that I could not normally burn on my rig, because I'm really trying to just phase out physical media, at least in this house. Okay guys, so I got the DVD drive, and I'm now just going to quickly, off camera, install it into that Dell computer, and then I should be able to install some DVD burning software so that I can burn a ISO to a disk via Windows 2000. So yeah. Anyway, I actually just looked out the window and I noticed that Garfield is in his usual spot, laying out here in the golf cart. He likes to lay in the bucket seats of this thing. As of lately, I have not had any sort of opportunity to really work on this golf cart. I'm not going to sell it. I just want to see if I can maybe find a place to store it for a while, because I do want to continue the series. It started on the channel, and I'd like for it to end on the channel. But anyway, that is what Garfield's been up to lately. And the statement I made a few weeks ago, which is that Dell manufactures the worst case designs ever, it appears still stands. It took me around 10 minutes to figure out how to get this DVD drive out of the thing. I had to remove the front panel, and just generally, I do not like Dell case designs. I do suppose that it could be worse. I know E-Machines has some terrible, terrible case designs. But my point is that from a company as big as Dell, you would kind of expect some kind of user-friendliness to the case designs. Alright guys, so the computer's all assembled. Now it is time to hook it up to the monitor. And this video has been all handheld, by the way. This is without a rig on this DSLR. If you ever watch Digital Rev, he actually, the guys from Digital Rev TV, they have a method to where Locke actually figures out a way where you can actually just use your strap to stabilize your DSLR. And as long as you're not doing too much walking, it actually is fairly decent of a method of stabilizing an SLR. Alright guys, so ignoring that other Pentium 2 / Pentium 3 project, here we have a good board, really. According to the guy at Posts, I got this for 20 bucks from M&M Computers. No warranty, really. But this is I would consider this modern, really. It's got SATA, modern enough, I guess. I hate it when people, like, there's a thread on Linus Tech Tips, and you always end up with, like, 12-year-olds posting, like, oh yeah, this Pentium 4 just sold. No, the Pentium 4, according to me, it's got PCIe, it's got SATA, and it's got gigabit Ethernet built in, and I would DDR1 is not ancient, people. Rambus and below is ancient. But regardless, I've got a small heat sink in the freezer right now. There's a bit of thermal paste left on this. This is a 3.4 gigahertz overclockable Pentium 4. It's running at 3.4 gigahertz stock. This is a very high-end board. I am going to get the 9800 out of the closet. I am going to see if I can get this thing to post using my own setup. And I am probably actually going to end up... If it probably won't fit in the Dell case, so I may end up just putting the Pentium 2 board in storage, and like, of course, wrapping it up, and then just installing this, because this is standard ATX. This was pre-BTX days for Dell, so I do believe that I should be able to mount this in the case. But anyway, more updates later. Alright, so here I've got the 9800, which, yes, it is back from the dead. Last time I tried it in my rig, it worked just fine. Yeah, so it's working just fine. This 9800 is a 9800 GTX Plus. It beats the crap out of anything previous to it, like any 8800s, any 7900s, 7950 GX2s, etc. This board, again, going along with the whole thing of this is not old junk. I only have one stick of DDR2. I thought this was DDR1. But no, I actually got a pretty good deal. This is DDR2, so I'm going to actually be going onto eBay. Next time I get some money, I'm going to order 4 gigs of DDR2. That's assuming I can get the system stable. Okay guys, without even focusing, I started filming. I've got the aluminum heatsink right here. This is a very, very small heatsink. But I've had it in the freezer for a while, but it's been in this bag, so it should be quite dry. So I'm going to place this directly onto the CPU. And then I'm going to take this fan, connect it up to the power supply, and then I'm probably going to actually take out the 9800 just for the first post, because I don't have the 450 watts, so I can't really run the 9800 off of this as of right now. This is just so sketch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just sort of going to just generally place this fan in the area to where I want it to direct air. And now I gotta connect up the cable, and then I gotta figure out a way to jump start this Mobo. Here's the good news. I do have a cooler that absolutely will mount to this motherboard. I've got a case that will fit. It's from the same era, and it'll mount to everything just fine. Nothing wrong with that. The bad news is that this is, ironically, this was when I reapplied thermal paste. I didn't actually use thermal paste. I used something called thermal glue that is both used to mount that. So when I removed the heatsink, this Pentium 4 is kind of stuck to it, but it's not this good Pentium 4. This is a low clock, like 1.8 gigahertz Pentium 4. So I'm just going to pry that off sort of with a screwdriver, and hopefully it won't break. Alright guys, so this will be the test to end all tests. When I plug this in, hopefully it shorted itself on. As far as cooling goes, we've literally just got this, and it probably just throttled itself back. Maybe that was just the way that it started up, or what? Let me just see if I can... No, it's still running relatively cool. It's not even on. Maybe that's just what it does when it gets plugged in. So let's just see if we can short it out with a screwdriver. I'm sorry if any of this video actually comes out decent, but anyway, let's just see if we can short out any of these pins and make the right connection with a screwdriver. Nope, not working. Not 100% working. And so far, unable to short it into working. I'll get back to you. It seems like a bit of a fitting end to this video. I wouldn't call it depressing, but what I ended up having to do was getting rid of the motherboard itself, but I did keep the CPU, so I've got all I need to assemble a system is a motherboard and a case. So there's going to be some more updates, some more vlogs. Probably not going to upload for a bit. I just want to get another project going and finish off some projects that I am working on. So I've pretty much undone what I kind of started doing in the beginning of the video, but I guess that's kind of going to the way life works. If you guys do enjoy what I do with the channel, which is pretty much just what I would be doing normally, which is just screwing around with computers, be sure to give this a thumbs up. Otherwise, as usual, kick it.